and welcome to Hot Flush Lawyers, the podcast where we discuss the menopause and its impact with business leaders, healthcare professionals, and other inspirational women who bring to life their personal experiences of the menopause, discuss how times have changed, and share how the menopause has affected them in their lives and careers. Now, over to our two hosts, Clare Thornton and Amanda Gait. We hope you enjoy this episode of Hot Flush Lawyers.
Hi everybody and welcome to another episode of Hot Flush Lawyers. I'm Clare Thornton from Thornton Jones Solicitors in Wakefield, and my colleague
Amanda from Thornton Jones.
Also from Thornton Jones. So today we're very excited to welcome a man into the studio, which is very unusual for us because it's usually very female heavy. This is Nigel. Nigel is Amanda's husband.
Hello. Hello, ladies.
Hello. So we thought it'd be good to get a male point of view to see what it's like living with
a menopausal psycho.
Exactly, a menopausal psycho. And because Amanda has had a more extreme version of menopause than me, we thought we'd bring you in rather than mine. So thank you very much for giving us your time.
Absolutely no problem. I'm really interested to be here.
Good.
I might find out something else that I don't
you
know.
Might.
Or that I didn't know.
Yeah. Or Amanda might find out something that she did that she didn't know she did.
Yes.
I think it'd be it's actually quite interesting to get his perspective on what I was like. But to be honest with you, his memory is absolutely atrocious. So to be...
It's selective.
Selective memory.
Oh, yes.
You've blocked out a lot.
Blocked out all of those bits.
I block out a lot in my life, I can tell you.
I'm sure. So tell us a little bit about how you and Amanda met and how old you were and everything when you first...
he won't remember that.
Oh, yeah, of course I do. So we met at university, 1986, Lancaster University.
Nice.
Seems like a lifetime ago. So
it does.
No, it does. It's like 40 years.
Yeah.
So you kind of roll that back. It's like being in 1986, looking back to 1946.
Yeah.
So it's a long time. So we kind of met there, and we've been together ever since. We lived together after university, when Amanda was training to be a lawyer, and I was training to be an accountant. So we lived together in York. Then I came back home while I was trying to get some money to buy a house. Amanda moved from Redcar in Cleveland and went to got a flat in Beeston in Leeds.
Nice.
So
it was where the Bombers lived.
Yeah,
it was.
Yeah.
It was on the same street. Yeah.
Nice. Did you know them?
Tempest Road.
Not really.
Yeah, up Tempest Road. So she lived there, and we kind of lived together. Although I kind of went at home for my meals and stuff like that.
It's clothes washing.
For my clothes washing. So we did that, and then we got a house together, and we've kind of been ever together ever since. We've kind of moved around West Yorkshire, but I've spent a lot of my time working away.
Yeah.
A lot of the time, so I'm generally at home probably 2 days out of 7.
Yeah, which is hard.
Yeah, everybody says that to me, but it's my life, and I've been doing it for at least 15 years. So it becomes my normal, my normal existence.
So was that about the time you were 15 years ago? Now you weren't starting on the menopause. Yeah.
I think I was perimenopausal. I was starting with all the health issues at that point. That was the precursor to where we were having to go and see gynecologists all the time because of issues with periods, and the fact that at that point I think it was around about the time that they were talking about a hysterectomy and things like that, and Nigel was very good. He took time out to come to hospitals with me, but because generally you get flustered, don't you?
Yeah.
Even though you're a professional person and you're very good in environments that don't involve you, when it's to do with you, you go to pieces and you turn into a blubbering idiot half the time. So it was very good because he could ask the more pertinent questions and more direct questions at that point, but it was never at that point mentioned that it was perimenopause. It was just
health.
It was health issues. So that was it was around about the time that he started working away, wasn't it, really?
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Seems like a long time.
The working away bit, it's never really. It's not really. It's normal.
It's probably saved your marriage because he's had to live with you every day.
He hasn't had to live with me.
I think that's the biggest problem for most men. It's living with them, with your menopausal wife.
Yeah, maybe, but
Do you remember those health issues then?
Oh yeah, I mean we went through times when Amanda seemed to be permanently having a period. Permanently losing loads of blood, and it's like, geez. And it's like a bit concerned. What do you do? Go to the hospital? You'll just, these are your options and things like this. And it's like, right, okay. And then you start doing bits of digging, and then that was a concern for quite a while. But you don't kind of, it just becomes something's happening. And to be honest, I didn't know anything about menopause or anything like it. It seemed like a different life away at that point. And so it's all about, oh, you're ill. That kind of hook to it. And then that kind of settled down. And then you just get older. And you're like, but you do, like life just goes on. You get older and you do different things. And then things start to change a bit. And I think all of a sudden it's like behaviours change a bit. And you think, well, that's not like you normally. You have times when people are edgy and a bit gripey and moany and stuff like that. Just part of life. But then it gets to be more regular, and then it gets to be like, right, this is what it's like, and then it's like, right, okay, what's that all about? And then other things start to happen, and I think the biggest kind of, well, things change, and you kind of think, well, is that because of me? Is it because of you? Is it because of my job? Because I'm working away? All this kind of stuff. Is it because of stresses and strains of jobs and stuff like that? Is it because at that time your kids are getting older, the family, they're starting to leave, so they're around a lot less? So it's like, is it because Amanda's no longer... We had conversations about this, about kind of not felt that she was needed. The kids have gone.
You do though, don't you? I mean, when they've been your life, however difficult it is being a working mum, it's your life for a long time. And when they suddenly don't need you anymore, you almost think, well, what's my purpose?
And that's all happening it's all happening at kind of at the same time. So there was that kind of stuff, and then you start to notice physical changes. So changing body shape.
Ooh.
No, but it's true, isn't it? No, but it is.
It is.
And it is.
I'm like a barrel.
No, but I mean, you laugh it off, but you're not the same
person.
Not the same person in terms of role in life as being a mum, someone who's kind of there traipsing around after the kids while dad's gallivanting off everywhere, doing all that they need you. They're kind of distancing themselves, so I don't need that. Then it's right, okay, yeah, kind of having bits of health kind of issues, and then it's like, right, look at my body image. You see all the stuff on the TV, and it's like, right, okay, I'm suddenly getting old, I think, and it's like, right, okay, and then you get into things about personally, like self-worth. I mean, looking at Amanda, sometimes it's like, right, I can think she's looking at herself and thinking, I don't even like myself.
Yeah, you do a lot of that, Amanda.
I do that a lot,
yeah.
I still do that a lot. Not as much as I did, but certainly I acknowledge that going through perimenopause and going into the menopause itself, which apparently only happens for 1 second, the menopause, because then you're postmenopause. The looking in the mirror, and I think I've said this before, I just didn't recognise who I was, and I didn't like what I saw. The curvy person who could always cinch her waist in, and it was like, I can wear this and it's rather sexy and I look great and I can flout my chest and what have you. But then I'm like, my chest's down by my knees.
Under your armpits.
You wake up in the middle of the night and one's one side and the other's the other, and you think,
it's awful. That's the worst thing.
And you look at your face and you think, well, everything's sagging, everything's going south, and you do then question why. Personally, I then question why somebody would want to be with me.
Aww.
And then I go and work away, so, so that makes it even better.
He doesn't want to be.
He doesn't want to be moved off.
Yeah. No, but it is that thing. It's like, I mean, you've when you were younger, you went through a lot of phases where you're like a gym monkey, there all the time at the gym, always size whatever it is, always a certain shape, certain size, and now doing the same thing. Now it gets to a certain age, and you eat the same stuff, so your diet hasn't changed. You do the same stuff, you still go to the gym, yet you look different, and your body behaves different. So it's like you go through phases where it's like, right, look, I feel overweight, I don't like my body shape, I need to lose some weight. So it's like, okay, diets and all that kind of stuff, hitting the gym 5 times a week, all this kind of stuff. And then it's like,
I know you do.
No, and it's true. It's like, right, I've done all that, and right, get on the scales. Oh, I've put a pound on.
Yeah.
And it's like, my God.
It's frustration.
On a Saturday morning when he's at home, my God, I put weight on. What can I do? I've given up everything that's nice.
So I haven't done anything all week. So then, as I come. So I'm usually home. Usually home on a Saturday night, 9 o'clock at night, and I'm there on Sunday. So that's one of my days.
Yeah.
And like, it's like Sunday morning. It's like, oh. Yeah.
Miserable.
And it's right. Oh, Jesus Christ! Right.
What have I come home for?
What have I come home for? So you get through all this stuff, and then it kind of goes on, and then other things kind of happened. I mean, it's straight, absolute bizarre stuff happened in that kind of period. Amanda went through a phase where she had super anxiety about driving and speed and hills.
Yes, we know about your hills, don't we?
And it starts off and you think, wow, this is bizarre. So we're going along on roads that we've travelled along for 25 years. And you go, we're hilly around Wakefield. We all know that.
Yeah.
So you go in that, and it's like, and you be looking, and Amanda be sat in the chair next to him, and she'd be literally.
Oh, even when you're not driving.
Even
not
when
driving.
I'm a passenger.
When
as
a passenger,
well.
so we went through a phase where she wouldn't drive downhill. So it's like I'd drive everywhere. So it's right, okay. So it's
proper
white knuckles on the seats, and it's like, how fast we're going, how fast we're going, how fast we're going. It's like modern cars, you can see it on the dial. It's there. It's speedo, 20 miles an hour. No joke, 20 miles an hour down say hills near Denbydale.
Yeah,
which we all know, and it's like.
What's
that
wrong?
I can't, and it becomes stop being so stupid.
Yeah.
Get a grip.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, I can't help it. It seems like we're going to crash. Can't do all that. And it gets it becomes irrational. And you think, wow, there's a bit of a problem here.
Yeah.
And it isn't just get a grip, Amanda. Yeah. And it's like, right, okay, we need to find a way to manage this. And then you start doing a bit of reading, the internet and all that kind of stuff, and you think, right, okay, this can be real. So it's like. So we ended up with phases where we'd go to, say, Scarborough at the coast, and there's a couple of hills to get up towards Scarborough or whatever, and we'd have to go towards York to go flat to avoid the hills. God. It was that serious.
Yeah, that's entirely true. When we had a caravan, there was a hill on the way to Hornsey, and if we went in 2 cars, he used to go one way and I used to go the long way around and take it, and I'd end up being being an hour after him.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah. Because
is that your phone, Amanda?
It's on my watch. I'm really sorry.
It's all right.
It's ringing through my watch. I've turned it off on there, but it's ringing through my watch.
It's very quiet.
Yeah.
Well, that's really. I mean, I knew about the driving, but I didn't realise that you actually had to.
No, it was and it's like it is because you're looking at. I was even looking today, and I was trying to jog my memory on stuff, and you look on it, and you look on menopause and symptoms and problems and all this. I didn't even see that today when I looked to check. I'm thinking, right, have I missed something here? And if I'd have checked at the time and all that kind of stuff, and it's still not there, not that kind of specific anxiety thing.
I think driving anxieties is quite a common thing, but it's the specific thing about.
It
hills.
was, and to me, it manifested itself with hills, which was really bizarre. And I mean, and it wasn't. I mean, to be honest with you, Nigel's been relatively nice about how I was. I wasn't just like that. I was I was off the scale sometimes.
What,
close your
screaming at him,
close your eyes and stuff like that.
You're driving too quickly, and there was one occasion which Nigel probably doesn't even remember because there was that many of them, where we had to go and pick Alice up late at night, and she had gone to some party in the middle of nowhere, and it was in Denbydale or Flockton or Huddersfield or somewhere, and it was all uphill and down, and Nigel missed the turning, so we ended up going up this really steep thing that we had to then come back down, and I was screaming at him, and I remember him at that point going, "There's something seriously wrong with you. You need to get help." And I was like, I do, because this isn't normal. No. But I couldn't explain it.
So you knew it wasn't rational?
I knew it wasn't rational, yeah. But I couldn't do anything about it, and I didn't know why it was happening.
It's so awful, isn't it?
It is. And if somebody had said to me it was menopause, like I think I've said before, I'd have said, well, you can't just blame it on something like that. But actually it was quite freeing to find out that you weren't going insane. It was something that was manageable.
Yeah.
Which is now, it's manageable, it's fine now.
Do you not feel like it's at all now, though?
I still tell him to slow down.
Well, yeah, but that's just normal husband and wife. Husband's always going to.
I'm still a sort of really bad passenger, but that's just my control thing. I just like, you drive.
And you probably were before the menopause.
Yeah, but I'm not sort of like, if he goes down a hill or anything, I'm not really.
I mean, it must be really hard for you then, Nigel, because you've grown up with Amanda from being young people, and she was, I imagine, well, I knew you before your menopause, and you were very confident, not an anxious person generally. So that's a complete transformation of personality.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's the thing, and it happens at the time. I think the key bit is it happens at the time with everything else. So things happen in your work life, things happen in your home life. So it's kind of like a perfect storm of some of this stuff coming together. So I think that kind of makes it a bit worse.
Yeah.
Because not only is kind of Amanda getting a bit older and going through menopause and stuff, but the kids are getting older, and they're as I said, they're kind of going away.
Yeah.
I'm getting older, and I'm not the same person that I was 30 years or 40 years ago.
No.
So you're all kind of different, and it all happens kind of at the same time, and it all then goes into a bit of a soup, and then I think that kind of can make it all worse.
Yeah.
Worse, and then it's like, right, okay, what do you do about it? And I think we're in a society now where it's like, right, okay, get to the doctor and get some drugs. That's the kind of thing, isn't it? And I don't necessarily think that's the answer. And I mean, even sort of 4 or 5 years ago, you wouldn't have dreamed of having something like this.
No.
You wouldn't.
No, you wouldn't. Nobody would have talked about
it.
Well, you wouldn't. But you wouldn't. And you wouldn't. Probably I'm not the normal kind of bloke.
No.
But still here talking about it.
Yeah.
And I know where I work. I work with a lot of women. There's probably other than footballers, there's more women than men. And in that environment for a man, the kind of custom and practice around what people talk about, it's a bit different. It takes some getting used to. But even my time in my job now, which is about 10 years, this sort of stuff would never be talked about.
No.
Even with all these women, they wouldn't necessarily talk about it when I'm there. I'm not even sure how much they talk about it between themselves, to be honest. But now, I was talking to a lady who looks after our kind of equality and diversity stuff, and we do all kinds of projects, violence against women and girls, these kind of projects, inclusion. So we do lots of talking about all things like this. And I said that I was coming on this show, and she kind of said, Great. I'm doing this project. Come and do something with us, and we'll talk about it. And then I know someone at work who's watched this, and her husband pulled me at work and said, my wife's got a lot to answer for. So I think the kind of the way people approach this is changed.
Yeah.
And it's changing fast.
Yeah.
I was talking about it at work. I was kind of saying maybe 3 or 4 years ago, nobody kind of talked about men's mental health, and all of a sudden that's become like the norm. with all the suicides and things like that, and pressures that men have, and the fact that they're tough it up and they suck it up and don't go and tell anybody. And that's kind of come out into the open, and it's become kind of norm to talk about that. And I was saying at work, I think this is kind of catching up. This is like the women's equivalent.
Yeah.
If you see what I mean. Now, I might be wrong, but that's the way I kind of see it. It's kind of been too kind of hidden in the background.
Well, it's been something to be ashamed of, hasn't it? I think.
Yeah, it is.
It
is. It's something that, you know, even now my mum, she won't talk. No. She won't talk about it. She thinks it's bizarre that I'm doing this.
She came out with some.
She's got some awful sayings.
Awful language about this. Awful language.
That's what she says to me. How long have you been dried up for? That's what she says. I'm like, she still says it now. I'm like, oh, mother. I'm just a frazzled little prune in the garden.
You're dried up. Oh my God, that's awful.
No, but that's some of the language around it and all that. You know
that's
what I mean?
About as good as it gets with my mum.
It's another kind of generation on, isn't it? You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely. They didn't talk about it. No. But this is why we started this whole podcast, was because from a professional woman point of view, I felt really strongly that we'd lost so many great women because you just faded away. You just, you know, without that support that you've had from Nigel and from finding out that it was menopause and talking about it, you probably would have given up your career. And I think it's really, that was the way it was. Yeah. Women were done with. Once children were grown up, you were done with, and that's no longer the case, thank goodness, for most people. But it surprised me as well how many women have, since we've been doing this, how many women have contacted both of us separately.
Yeah, absolutely.
And been really like, thank you for talking about it, because there's still a lot of people who don't talk about it. I
think there is, but I think the talking about it helps women who are in the relatively early stages, make them acknowledge and realise that the things that they're going through are not them going mad. It's part of the menopause. It's normal.
It's just
normal. It's just normal aging.
The normal stages of life.
Exactly.
And that's.
I mean, I think obviously the talking about it also helps, because I think one of the big things that you do lose, and I know I've spoken to Nigel about it, and I mean I didn't recognise it at the time, but this element of just your confidence just goes. You've got no confidence at all. You know, I mean, I was at the time a family lawyer. I didn't want to go into court. I didn't want to do. I just felt that I was rubbish at everything that I did. That the smallest thing was like, I'm clearly useless. And I think that is very normal. That element of it.
I think that self-esteem point is a really big one, and I think that can be a bit overwhelming, and little things kind of add up. Yeah. And I think it's important that there's someone there to say, that's not the case.
You're all right.
You're all right. This is all right.
And that you will come through the other side of that.
This is it. I think one of the things is often people don't know what to expect. Women themselves, their husbands, partners, whatever, they don't know what to expect. No. Only if they know someone who's gone through it. And I think we're all quite generational in that talk between generations doesn't work. So the only way you kind of find out is if it's affected somebody you know.
Yeah.
So, and generally people associate with people around their own ages. So if you're in a cohort of a certain age group, then the older ones, you'll find more out from them.
Yes, absolutely.
But you're not going to find it until some of them have gone through it. So you're not going to know what's kind of coming on. If you're the first one in, then it's like
I was.
That's it. And I think that's it. It's like, right, who do I talk to? Who do I talk to about it?
Yeah, no, it's true.
So I think the more these conversations can be had, then I think it's better for everybody.
Do you think that this isn't like a loaded question, husband?
All right. This is, whenever anybody says, "Can I say something honestly?"
Yeah.
You know,
Can I give you some
feedback? It's not a loaded question, and you won't be. There will be no implications when we get home. But do you think that I've come through it, and do you, and that I'm back to where I was, or am I somebody different?
Oh no, you're a completely different person.
Oh, am I?
Yeah.
Oh.
Not necessarily in a bad way,
okay.
but you're not the same. I don't say complete. That's probably wrong. You're not the same person as you were before. absolutely. But I don't think that's in a bad way.
Oh, okay.
I don't think, like I said, I'm not the same person as I was when I was younger, 20 years ago,
yeah.
or 5 years ago. I don't think. What I would say is I don't think it's affected you in a bad way. I think that's the key bit.
Yeah.
All things through life make people different.
Of course they do.
They do.
Yeah, but I think that did you see a change? Was there like a peak where I was absolutely awful and then suddenly I started getting better? Or is it too difficult when you're in the melee of it to work it out?
I don't kind of remember sitting there thinking, oh, that was a good day, that was a bad day, or anything like that, or it's this week's better than last week. I don't think it was. I'm a kind of laid back kind of person, so it just kind of all this kind of washes over me a bit. I just kind of take it with life. So I although Amanda was kind of up and down, I tend to be quite like that.
Yeah.
Which is quite infuriating.
Which is quite infuriating. So you're not gonna. So it's not gonna kind of. Yeah. So that's not how it kind of was. So I think. I think you become you become a slightly different person always, but I don't say it in a bad way. I think you've always been really confident, to do your career, in belief in your abilities to do stuff. I think of all the things, that's probably the thing that has affected you most, that personal belief and self-esteem, whether it's work, look, or how you look and how you're needed. I think you have to find a new role in. I think it's tougher for women. You kind of, even working women, you tend to carry the burden of the kids still, and when they've gone, you got to find a new kind of bit of a role in life.
And your mother.
So
I've got my mother and a dog.
Yeah. So yeah,
she's the biggest.
She's
burden
bigger.
going.
Yeah. She's a bigger one.
So I think it's finding that self bit again, and having that confidence that, and self-value and self-esteem.
Do you feel that Amanda's confidence is better than it was when she was?
Oh, absolutely.
So she's.
Yeah.
I mean, I can see it in you as well.
Yeah.
I think you're more confident generally, but
yeah,
maybe not as confident as you were before.
No, I don't think so. I don't think I'd ever get back to that.
No, but I think
the confidence of youth is
that was just about
isn't it? Really?
I think that's
Yeah.
really. I think that's part of it. And like
Yeah.
I say, there's a lot of things in the mix, so you can't kind of say one thing attributes to another.
No.
I think that.
Do you feel less confident as you got older, or do you feel more confident?
Personally,
Yeah.
more and more.
Yeah.
Confident or not confident?
Confident.
Yeah.
I think that's in my job. It's like accumulated experience.
I'm the same. I feel more confident.
Yeah, because it's
as
just
an older person.
Yeah.
I feel very confident in certain aspects, but I second guess myself still.
Yeah, you do.
A
Second guess
lot.
yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's just who I am. I think I'll always be like that. I think I was just better at hiding it when I was young.
Maybe. Yeah.
That's
Maybe.
I think you make a good point. Is that I think professionally in your jobs, you do accumulate experience,
Wisdom.
and yeah, and
I think wisdom's a really
and especially
empowering thing.
I think especially in things like judgments, because a lot of times you've seen things before and seen situations and you've made your mistakes, and hopefully you kind of learn from them, and you kind of say, I talk a lot at work about I'm good at some things, I'm not good at other things, and I'm pretty rubbish at some other things, but I can tend to see things coming. And that's from that kind of accumulated experiences and knowledge, and you kind of say, yeah, I've seen this before. I know what happens when you turn what the next chapter looks like.
Yeah.
So knowing that, do something kind of different. And I think as you get older, I think you're more willing to share.
Yeah.
And without feeling that you're admitting that you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, it's okay to say you don't know what you're doing.
It's hard to say, yeah.
It's good.
What do you think about this, or what would you do in my circumstances, and what do you think about how that's gone? And rather than then when someone says that didn't go well, thinking, oh my God, I'm hopeless. This is. I think you're all able. No, but I think that's just kind of.
But that's my personality.
I think that's a personality thing. But I think again that goes back to kind of this doing yourself down a bit. You might think that, but I don't think that's necessarily the case. I think as you go through all these life experiences, you take something from them.
Yeah, I agree.
You take things from them.
Very profound, aren't you?
You are very profound.
How do you think so?
Yeah, it's good.
I've been called lots of words beginning with P. But
not necessarily profound.
Not necessarily profound.
Well, you've been very profound today.
Do you think?
What about? Have you not got symptoms of
male menopause?
Menopause, yeah.
I don't know.
I'm a big fan of that. You see, I think that's a thing. Do you not shout at the telly a lot and get cross with people who can't drive?
He's never watched home enough to do.
Or shout about politics or about. Do you get cross with people?
He's literally like that, man. He's on one
no,
level.
My personality's. I can remember when I started work, I was at a big accountancy firm, and as soon as you join, you're on the degree course. First thing they do is kind of give you some kind of personality tests and all this kind of stuff. Yeah. Are you a blue?
And he's got a personality
blue
disorder.
Or a green or a red and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, we've all done them, haven't we?
Yeah.
And I can remember going right back to when I started working, which was about 1990-ish. I was kind of in the middle. I was like a chameleon in the middle.
Okay.
But I was. And then he used to give like questions, like stress questions. So what you like when you're under stress and stuff. And my ones were kind of went to red, gas mark 11, nothing in between to go from there to there. And I've carried that with me ever since. So it's like kind of go like that, and then it's like, pew! But I've come to kind of. That's kind of a bit of an in joke, and now when that kind of I've learnt a lot over certainly the last 10 years about that, and the kind of it's more of a joke now.
Yeah.
I tend to do that on purpose.
Oh, just lose the plot on purpose.
And then everybody goes, whoa, and they go, I caught you out there.
So, well, you're a very unusual man.
Yeah, I am.
Amanda.
I am. I'm kind of not. Well, yeah.
It's very infuriating. No, it's just. I mean, Alice is exactly the same as him. It's
really?
just that sort of like, oh yeah. Everything's
yeah, that's life.
Everything's
that's life, and
they never get
you
excited.
Work your way through it. Your way through it.
Yeah, but he doesn't get excited about anything either.
No, so you don't get the extremes of.
So that I get really, really excited about stuff, and he's like, oh yeah.
I tend not to have highs. I tend not to have highs, but I have plenty of lows. The good times. Like we've been to Wembley a few times, and you get high then. But I can tell you the lows.
Bad.
Really low.
The lows are really low. I can, that's, and you do feel that. You do feel.
I can imagine you're so judged, aren't you, by everybody?
Yeah, but everybody's judged, aren't they?
Yeah, I suppose.
Everybody is judged all the time.
But not so publicly, I think.
I think that the thing that's different, and certainly I think that I wouldn't like to have to deal with, and certainly I wouldn't have, if I would dealt with it when I was going through the menopause, it took me over the edge, is the social media aspect of what he does. So if he's having symptoms that whatever the menopause
I don't know. You need to tell me. So I haven't even looked. I'm here to learn. So tell me. Right. So shouting at the telly.
I don't think. Well, I think what someone described it to us in a previous podcast where. Women's, obviously hormones.
Yeah.
The reason why we're different people now than we were 40 years ago is partly to do with hormones. And that women's hormones in menopause and perimenopause go like a up, down curve, which you've experienced very much with Amanda. Whereas men's is just a steady decline of hormone, particularly of testosterone. So that's why men get the grumpy old man syndrome. It's that intolerance and grumpiness that comes slowly creeps up on you. So it's not quite as obvious as it is for the women.
Right, okay.
And I think that's what I've experienced potentially with not just my husband, but other men in my life, where that sort of tolerance, I think, for maybe other people who aren't quite as wise as us or know things the way we do can sometimes drop, I think. And also some men have problems with libido themselves or with self-image or less confidence issues with men than there are with women.
I don't think that is an issue.
That must be that. Maybe that's an estrogen thing.
Well, I don't know. I think that's just we have it hammered into us from an early age that we've got to behave and we've got to look a certain way and we've got to do everything and be perfect at everything. And when you're not, you're like on the floor.
Yeah, well, a lot of young men have that problem now, though. I think there's a lot of expectation on younger men to look a certain way than there was in our generation, and so maybe that doesn't impact. As you say, when you get older, generally, a lot of people do get more not confident, but more like I don't actually really care what anybody thinks about me anymore.
And I think that.
Apart from people I love, but
yeah, I think that's a fact. It's like you kind of have you've gone through maybe a period in your life where you think, I can change people's perceptions of me, and I can do anything. I've got the ability to do anything. So if someone doesn't like me, I can convince them I'm a good person. If someone thinks I'm rubbish, I can demonstrate in how I behave and what I do that I'm not rubbish. Mm-hmm. And you think you can do all of that, and then as you get a bit older, you think you've tried all that, and you find that sometimes you can't. And I think as you get older, you say, right, I know that I can't do it. No matter what I do, I'm not going to change that person's perception of me. They're not having me, and therefore you become much more kind of sanguine about it. And it's just right. That's fine. I'm not going to waste any energy on that. I'm going to just keep doing what I can. And then it gets to this. I'll just do my best.
Yeah.
And I think you're more comfortable in just doing your best as you get a bit older.
I think that's right. And I think the thing is with women, we have that more of a cliff edge thing, and you feel like you're coming out the other side of it. And I think you are. It sounds like Nigel thinks. Whereas men, it isn't as obvious that you've come through something. You've just got to an age where you are like, that is just me, and I'm comfortable with who I am and what I am, and
I think as you grow old together, which we have done, because obviously, as I say, we've been together since
and hopefully going to continue to do for a long time.
Well, no, I think that hopefully, but I think the reality is that there is that lack of worry about outside things anymore, and the only thing that matters is
your family,
the family, and our health, and because you want to have a happy and healthy life together. So although you have all these things coming in, and they might chip away at confidence, they might make you feel a bit depressed, we ground back to the fact that actually it don't matter. And I think we get that, I think, as we get older. And I think that coming through the menopause, I think as well, I think you do, because you have all these issues and crisis issues and confidence issues and you're rubbish and everything, once you sort of get past it and you're starting to work through it, I think that it does allow you to sort of reevaluate and say, well, actually, all of that outside stuff doesn't actually matter. I'm well now, I'm okay, I feel better, and the things that actually matter I can focus on. It'll all come in, and we have days where it's really stressful and all of that, but you ground back to that. I think that's as you get older together that there is a big thing.
That sounds right. Lovely. It was, on the one hand it did, but the stuff in the middle, God, man, it sounded like the end of the world.
It's not the end of the world.
But
we do.
No, but all that stuff.
It does matter though. That's the only thing that matters.
No, I'm not about that. I'm on about the experience of the menopause when you're going on there saying like, oh yeah, you're ill and all this and.
It can be. But it's awful for some women.
And I know you're feeling like that, but I'm kind of saying from my perspective, from me looking in, you didn't have to feel that bad.
Yeah, but I did.
Yeah.
And there's women that felt, and we've had them on, haven't we, on the podcast, who have had it far worse than I've had. There's some people that have sailed through it, to be honest, but there's others. We were talking to Marie, weren't we, on one of them, and she had a really bad time of it. I think what we're trying to achieve by doing this is that if we can talk to even just our loved ones about it, it's going to be better. It's
going to be helpful.
It's going to be better because they're not then thinking, oh well, you're all right, or actually this is just an illness and you'll get over it. It's to have that dialogue.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough. I think You've been able to share and have some common understanding, and I think the starting point, you've got to know what you're looking at. And I think if people have a better understanding of what this could look like for them, then they have a better way of being able to deal with it, and it's not so much surprised. So a lot of it is like, when things are new, you're not expecting them, you can get worried and things like that. And I think shared experiences that I know someone who's done that, and that happened to them, and this is what happened, and they're out the other side, and they're still great.
So yeah, well, I agree. I think it's really helpful for us to talk, and it's very kind of you to come in and talk about your memories of it, which obviously don't sound like they were quite as bad as you remember them being, but maybe
I'm glad of that. Actually,
that's good.
Yeah, I think that's good.
Yeah,
and that's why I wanted to say it, because I think you need a bit of reassurance that it
wasn't that bad.
From my perspective. I know everybody's individual, and I'm sure I can't put myself in your shoes, even though I was there. It's not different. It's different if it's you experiencing it. But I think it's different from different perspectives.
Yeah.
And I think that's why it's kind of good to share. And I think the more people who can kind of have some shared experiences, then the better, because it's coming to about 51% of the population.
Isn't it? Oh, Nigel.
Thanks, Nigel.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Hot Flush Lawyers podcast. Please be sure to follow and share this podcast and join in the conversation on our socials. We look forward to sharing our next episode with you very soon.